can't feel my face. Coffee spilling all over the place. Forgot the sticks, we're turning around. Another weekend in some hockey town. With a pucked up parents, frozen toes, big hearts, bad luck. With a pucked up parents, one more tourney, one more puck. We're broke, we're loud, we love this grind. Cause our kid just scored and we lost our minds.
Greetings and welcome to Puck Up Parents. We're at episode 29. Man, remember the 20s, 29 when you're staring down the barrel of age 30, and now I'm 48 and staring at the barrel of 50. So, Angela, how you doing?
Why do you always have to go to age on this one? Anyways, welcome to Pucked Up Parents. We are two hockey parents who came into being hockey parents with no background in hockey in a non-traditional hockey state, non-traditional hockey town, but have had the vast experience of being hockey parents for the last 12 years and have learned a lot along the way and are still learning as we go.
It's been 12 long years. We're slowly approaching year 13. And if you know anything about hockey, it's year round. You're dealing with hockey year round. So, with that said, Angela, let's talk about hockey in our lives last week and actually have a non hockey related thing with our kids. So, I'll get to that. But what happened last week?
Again, it's off season, so it's pretty quiet. We've got our older sons doing a beer league, Sunday scrimmages. But with this week, we've got the younger son's team app and chats are getting set up, and we're making payments on those team fees.
He's doing the old 10,000 puck challenge, and the neighbor had to come over and say, "Hey, listen, the kid's got to stop hitting towards our house." The goal's set up where the backstop is essentially our neighbor's house, and there's a gas line there, and the pucks have been hitting the gas line. So, oops, we had to talk. The gas line's going to get replaced. I think it's no cost to him. I offered to pay. I apologize, and we moved the hockey net. So, super apologetic. I'm used to stuff breaking in our own driveway on our own houses, but selfishly, I didn't think of the neighbors, so we took care of that. No hard feelings, no harm done.
Well, and I was going to say, frankly, I didn't know the gas line was there because there are big bushes and you can't see the gas line for the bushes.
I could agree, but clearly a puck can make it through the bushes all the way to the
Yep,
gas.
yep. So I guess watch where you're shooting pucks.
Hockey pucks are hard. Also in hockey, Angela's watching this miserable show
Yeah, it's pretty miserable.
off campus, which has a hockey theme to it. And I'm telling you, I sit in the room, I read a book while she's watching it, and I just want to jump out the window or run somewhere else. Man, this thing is miserable. How are you still watching this crap?
I don't know because there's nothing else, and I don't know. We started talking about it as another hockey show to watch, and now I'm watching it, and now it's like one of those train wrecks that you just keep watching.
Like a bad book, you have to finish it at this point, huh?
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
The only thing I have was, I ran a 5K last week. I ran a 5K, I invited our 12-year-old to run the 5K with me. Hey, father and son will run it. So we ran it, and days later, they posted time, and clearly he finished ahead of me. He finished 40 seconds ahead of me, and I was at work, and I text him. I go, "Hey, man, check it out. Here's our times." And he went scorched earth on me,
He
bragging,
did.
an old man. I said I didn't make any stops or stop for any water. He said, "Do you want a cookie?" And then I said, "I'm gonna remember this. I'm gonna remember this when you're my age to see if you finish in the time that I finished in." To which he promptly replied, "You'll be 84 and won't remember." So Henry woke up yesterday and decided to choose violence against me. And I was really put in my place. So as much as sarcasm as I have, Henry just piled it on me tenfold.
Yeah, it's emotional violence though. It was great. He's definitely got the smack talk down.
Yeah,
Wonder where he got that from.
Angela was on the thread. Her only reply was, "Damn, Henry." Let's
Yeah.
Well, last
Anyways,
week's episode, what did we talk about last week?
last week we did a quick rundown of college hockey and the options that are out there for players that are making that transition into college. And we talked about NCAA and ACHA, which are the two main options.
I, did some homework. You wanna hear? And I'm gonna have you guess. So you ready? This actually
Oh,
this was a question we brought up last week. We did not have the answer. I saw it.
okay.
I'll start you off easy. ACHA hockey, which we talked about last week, 400 and some odd teams out there. What is the southernmost college that has an ACHA team? Take a guess.
I'm gonna guess somewhere in like South Texas,
No.
South
University
Florida.
Miami. the Hurricanes.
Okay, all right. I guess I didn't know Miami Hurricane Miami or I guess what is that? University of Miami down there
Yeah,
and
the Hurricanes,
Miami University up here.
Oxford.
Uh, okay, yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I know that there are teams in Tampa and North Florida. I just didn't realize they got that far south, but good
Yep,
fun
yep.
fact.
And the question that came up last week that we did not have the answer to was, what is the southernmost NCAA Division One men's team? Do you care to guess at that? Without looking it up, don't look at your phone.
I'm not looking at my phone. I'm not looking at my computer. I don't know. I don't have a good guess.
Arizona State.
Oh, I didn't realize Arizona State made the switch from ACHA to NCAA.
The bigger you wanna hear the bigger surprise? There was a more southern team up until 2021, and you'll never guess what college this was. They folded in 2021, not the college, the team. University of Alabama at Huntsville had an NCAA.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Hockey's big in Huntsville, Alabama.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I didn't realize they had an NCAA Division One team, but I know that hockey's a pretty big sport in Huntsville. They're actually not too far from Nashville, so that makes for some good road trips there between those 2 southern cities.
So, Alabama, Arizona, lots of travel. Speaking of travel, Angela, what do you got on tap today?
We're going to talk about unexpected things that happen when you're traveling, or like I would like to call it, travel nightmares. Everything from minor inconveniences to total meltdowns.
We're talking about travel. So, you're headed to a game, and from the time you pull out of your driveway up until the time you end up back in your driveway, everything that could go wrong in between. So, what to expect when you least expect it or unexpected expectations. What the fuck
Right.
am I doing? Angela, what are your examples? Let's go.
Well, I want to point out that we touched on some travel basics back in episode 6. So it's been a minute since we've focused on travel. We've dropped some stories in of things that have happened to us over the last season or so, but kind of went back and compiled some worst of the worst moments, I guess. And we'll start with some pretty mild stuff. So sometimes you get that last minute game or tournament scheduled, and you've got to scramble to make travel plans around limited hotel options. Maybe you've got other things going on that weekend, work commitments, family events, those kinds of things.
It's October 1st. Angela, I got front row club seats to see the Foo Fighters. October 14th. We are going, we're gonna have a great time. And then what happens? That's like saying Beetlejuice 3 times. We get that email. Hey, we're gonna do a tournament in Detroit. And now I'm scrambling to either send one of us up there and find somebody to go to a concert with me or sell both tickets and go up there. It is inevitable. Basically, put a pause on your life between the time frame of, I don't know, September to April, basically, because your weekends are always going to be up in the air if they're not already games scheduled.
Right. But it can work the other way too, where a game gets canceled or a tournament gets canceled and you end up not going. And then, hey, bonus weekend, you get your weekend back.
Yeah, that's when we're like, it's happy hour time.
Right.
Last minute trips. Now you're running, and we've done numerous last minute trips. And a prime example is we've done for the last 2 years is the nationals. You don't know if your kid's going to make nationals. So maybe not a good example because it's not a coach saying, "Hey, we found this tournament." This is, "Hey, you won. Now you move on to the next level." So you're facing now expensive flights, a limited hotel options, and then you're, of course, we talked about commitments of stuff going on.
Right. Family weddings be damned. There's a hockey tournament. How do you manage that? You have to make those decisions based on your family situation and your player and how you're going to manage that. And we've seen the situations where the family splits up and, hey, this group goes to the wedding, this group goes to the tournament. Or there's times where if it's a close family member, people will miss a tournament for a wedding, graduation, other family events, those kinds of things.
Yep, great grandma Mauser died. Henry's headed to St. Louis. He can't make the funeral, and that actually happened. We sent him
It
with
did.
she was 102, but she was a huge fan of our kids' hockey. So to me, with the kids, I was like, "Look, man, she would totally want you to play, as opposed to being up on the hillside watching her being put in the ground."
Well, and we did the divide and conquer on that. We sent Henry along with another family onto the tournament. The rest of us went to the funerals, and then I think Sam and I hightailed it out of there to get to his game that night. So you make it happen. It's crazy, but a lot of times you just make it happen.
A lot of theme of this episode is going to be relying on hockey parents. We talk about this. Your hockey family, your hockey parents, your people. Angela's famous for using this quite a bit. The work trip. She travels a lot. She works for the federal government. We're not going to go into the detail which branch of the government. Maybe she's an undercover FBI agent. You don't know.
Yeah, no.
She's not. Trip. So Angela's got to fly. I don't know, to Texas or to California for a work trip, and one of the kids has a game in Detroit, and the other kid is in Nashville. I'll go to Nashville. We'll send the other kid with another family to Detroit, and Angela will not book a flight home to here, home in Cincinnati. She'll book it to Detroit to meet up with the kid. We've done that numerous times.
Right. Or I've been up in Columbus or Cleveland already for work and have another family bring the player, whichever kid it is, to me, and we meet up in the city. We've done things along those lines, and it's not just me. I've done this to help out other families where the parent was traveling for work. Say they were in Indianapolis, but we had the tournament in Chicago that weekend, and I take the kids and we meet up in whatever city we're going to be in that weekend. So that happens a lot. The other thing that I've done a number of times over the years is actually take conference calls or video meetings from hotels or rink lobbies. I remember one time we were interviewing for positions within my office, and I was conducting or participating in interviews for new employees from a rink lobby during a tournament.
A rink lobby that has good Wi-Fi, that's almost
Yeah.
anomaly. It's like the heaters in the rink, and I'm always like the business center of the hotel or the little desk that's set up in the hotel. Back when I was younger, I'm like, "What assholes come into a hotel to work?" Now,
Now,
the parent and also as a career man, I completely understand, and I've done that too. I've taken the not just at the hotel or at the rink, I've done it on the road. Like, I'm in
yeah.
Cincinnati and Cleveland and taking a conference call. So, yeah, you make whatever vehicle or whatever hotel room in as your office, and that's a good thing. I guess that's one thing the good thing to come out of COVID. A lot of meetings shifted to Zoom and WebEx and allows us the ability to do this for those weird Friday tournament games that start at 2 o'clock PM.
All those weird times, or we've even done a handful of tournaments that you've got a game on Thursday night and then you don't have another game till Friday afternoon or something weird along those lines. Essentially, you have your entire work day on Friday. You either sit at the hotel twiddling your thumbs or figure out what to do in middle of nowhere, Michigan, or work from the hotel room.
Well, hopefully, those are more expected as opposed to unexpected. The meetings, you're booking them appropriately because you know at least a week or so ahead of time when the tournament is. Let's talk about some more unexpected silliness happening. What about the sick player or parents being sick? We've seen that before, especially sit down, you youngsters, we're COVID parents. You've seen these games get scheduled, and then I don't know, 50% of the team ends up getting sick. It's the flu because they all practice together. They're all in those locker rooms that's together, licking the walls, and they all
And
get
they're
sick.
probably drinking water after each other
Oh,
on
yeah,
the bench.
using the same thing, coughing in each other's face as they call it out plays. So we've seen games that are forfeited due to too many of the kids being sick.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and I can't say that I've not ever been on a tournament where I can feel myself going downhill on that drive up, and you get there, and by Saturday, you were just in bed, can't move, and again, go back to the hockey family. Somebody's gotta take my kid to the rink. I am in a bad way.
Right, and you're hitting the pharmacy and picking up all the, Mucinex and Theraflu and all the things in whatever city you're in and treating yourself, in the hotel room, and it happens with the kids too. We've had players mid-tournament come down with something and miss games or end up going home because they're ill.
I'll, share a story. Angela and I went to New York City for, some good times, and we split up after New York. She flew out to Vegas, again, for work. I stayed behind with the kids. The kids were we were heavy into hockey still. Sam is 3 times a week. We're driving him. Henry is, 2 or 3 times a week, and I got shingles. I got the shingles, and damned if I wasn't gonna not take them to those hockey rinks for all these practices all week. I was gonna fulfill my fatherly duties, and if you've ever had shingles, it hurts. Wearing a t-shirt hurts, and it was from the top of my neck to the bottom of my foot, and it felt like I was on fire. So, at that time, probably the only time that I welcomed sitting inside a rink in the freezing cold because that felt good on my pathetic body. I could have sat there in my boxer shorts, but I remember I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have drove.
No, you shouldn't have.
I can remember being hunched over in the car, trying not to move to drive because I had shingles so bad, but I remember the cold, cold inside of the rink going, "This is glorious."
Yeah.
Expected.
Right, and that's maybe where you call in another one of those hockey families or a grandparent and say, "Hey, come help me out." So, yeah, gotta rely on family, friends, hockey family, all of that.
Let me close that story out real quick. I can remember being so just bad. Well, I was bad off, man. And Angela actually met one of our couple friends out in Vegas. They happened to be there at the same time, and they're like sending me pictures of them like boozing on a patio and at a casino, having a great time. Meanwhile, I'm like laid up on a couch trying not to cry.
Yeah, that was crazy because you called me and you're like, "I've got the shingles," and I'm like, "The what? Isn't that an old people thing?"
Oh,
Well, that was a viral sickness, but there's also a booze-related sickness that happens sometimes on hockey trips, the parent hangover.
what does your family call that? Getting overserved the night before.
Yes,
Got a little
overserved.
And we all done it. You sit in the hotel lobby, 1 beer goes down easy, the second beer goes down a little faster. Oh, wait, somebody just brought out a bottle of bourbon, let's have some shots. You get overserved. It happens, right?
Right, it happens, and sometimes you get up that next morning and that never fails that it's the 7 a.m. game the next morning and you feel like garbage. Again, calling in on those, other hockey families, get you some Gatorade and some toast and move on.
This is a double whammy of a unexpected story. We traveled for a tournament with our oldest. I think he was probably, I don't know, 10, 11 years old, and we were at this hotel, and the power went out at the hotel.
Oh, he was younger than that. He
Okay,
was
maybe
like 8.
8 or 9.
Yeah.
The power went out. So all the parents went out to the hallway with our coolers and we just started everybody was drinking. Angela drank a ton, another mom drank a ton. Well, the next morning we get up, of course, I think we had an early game.
Always.
Angela's in pain. She's puking. The other parent, I won't name her on this air, but she was puking in the garbage can. And basically, Angela's like, "You gotta take him to the rink by yourself. I'm not moving." So she had the hangover. Now, what have we learned in our old age as we got into our 40s? You gotta mix in a water and get the Pedialyte or the liquid IV. Every so often, mix in those drinks to get yourself hydrated, and then also eat. Make sure you eat something. If you get to the hotel
Well,
room, there's no food, you gotta eat something.
and that was the problem with the power outage. It was a transformer issue, and so the whole town was out of power. So all the restaurants were closed and we couldn't get food. That was one of the reasons we were all in the hallway. We had compiled all of the snacks we had all packed, and that was dinner that night.
It was like
So I think dinner was like a can of Pringles, some carrot sticks, and a couple of Oreos.
It was like a plane crash on a deserted island, lost. "Alright, everybody, what provisions do you have?" And you were handing out, "Here's a fruit snack bag for you, but damn it, we have plenty of booze."
Right, exactly. That's exactly the situation there. I mean, that's another travel nightmare right there. You brought that up, the power outage at the hotel. We've actually had that happen twice. The first time was it was the transformer in the entire little town we were in was out of power, and the second time, I think it was just the hotel or just that block, but yeah, power went out, somebody got stuck in an elevator, and it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, the elevator stuck. That's another unexpected. They get stuck in the elevator. I know numerous times where that's happened to our kids. I don't know if they're messing around in the elevators, causing them to stop, but I take an elevator every day for work. I've never, knock on wood, I've never been stuck in the elevator. Now, back to the sickness of the kids and the parents. And I'm a proponent of this, going to like the random restaurants, the random dive bars to eat. You ever see anybody get food poisoning on these trips? Like a full on food poison? Food poisoning is the worst. It's like being severely drunk and puking, except without the fun of the buzz. It's just like you're sober the whole time and yakking and,
You know, I have to think that that's probably happened, but I don't remember a specific incident of that.
like
Uh,
somebody went to a seedy restaurant that was like the mac and cheese is gray.
or you got bad Chinese food or something. I'm sure something along those lines has happened along the way, but I can't remember any specifics on that. But yeah, you got to be careful with that kind of stuff. And again, that's where I use Yelp and make sure I'm going to a good restaurant, not just some crappy fast food or something that's just not good.
We went to a pizza place. I can't remember. I want to say it was in Indianapolis. It was one of those Portnoy pizza places. You know, he does that one slice or one bite pizza review, and he reviewed this place high. So Henry and I went there and had a pizza there, and it was a thick pizza, which I like thick pizza, but they served it on like a metal plate, and there was so much like I don't know water or steam, but it was like soggy sponge, and I knew I was like I'm gonna pay for this later. This is not good. I don't know where Portnoy's getting off saying this is a number 10 pizza. It was trash pizza, and I probably should have stopped at one slice, but I think I had 4 or 5 because E
Well, so maybe you forced a food poisoning on yourself.
Even bad pizza is like is still good pizza, I guess. A long line of foods, we've gotten this, and we've gotten away from it actually recently, the Thanksgiving weekend tournaments, which are always a pain in the ass. Maybe not unexpected because it should be on the calendar early. What do you got on that?
But you gotta plan ahead for a Thanksgiving weekend tournament. A lot of times these Thanksgiving weekend tournaments, you've gotta drive to the location on Thursday, which, hey, that's Thanksgiving. So you're leaving your family and you're driving to wherever the tournament location is. Well, guess what? There's no place to stop and eat along the way. The only thing that's open really are gas stations. Not many restaurants or fast food or anything is open on Thanksgiving night. So, word to the wise, plan ahead, pack your leftovers, pack a cooler, and cross your fingers that there's a microwave at the hotel.
When I eat in a hotel, and I actually did it over last weekend, we went to, Louisville for parent orientation, and is this gross or not? And this is not the Keurig story from prior where I drank the coffee. I I need a napkin. There ain't no napkins. There's no paper towels in a hotel room. I'm grabbing a washcloth. Is that gross? Like, I'm somewhat bothered by, like, some dude could have scrubbed his junk with that on the last visit, but I guess it's clean. I don't know.
I
Where do you
mean,
stand
is
on the washcloth as a napkin?
as long as it's clean, I mean, as long as you're not using the used washcloth,
Of
I
course
mean,
not.
it's better than nothing, I guess. Yeah, it's better than nothing. At least it's something.
I guess
And
I'm
yeah, we've had to substitute a hand towel for a plate for pizza before. So yeah, not surprised.
you just gotta mentally check out and not
Yeah,
imagine
just
freak
ignore it.
drying off his junk with that 2 weeks ago. Otherwise, I would just set fire to that thing and throw it in the garbage can.
Well, I'm sure they use a lot of bleach in their laundry, so don't worry about that.
Way better. Let's get to are we there yet? Rinks and road trips. Along the way, man, stuff happens. People can't drive worth a shit. Your car is breaking down. What do you got for that?
Oh, I think we talked about a little bit of this in a previous episode, but it's gonna happen. Somebody's gonna have a flat tire, a dead battery, some other car issue. You gotta be aware of that and be ready for it. And you're probably gonna see a message across the team app that says, "Hey, I'm at mile marker so and so. Can somebody stop and get my player so that they can get to the rink while I'm waiting on AAA or roadside service or a tow or whatever?"
Angela's had a flat tire, I think, last season.
Yep, had a flat tire last season. We've had multiple dead batteries over the
Yep.
last 12
2 years ago
years.
for me, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The freezing cold, my battery was dead. I had to jump it and then replace it. I had jumper cables. And I'm gonna take off my podcast host hat for a bit and put on my firefighter hat on. If you have a flat tire and you're changing it yourself, be careful. There's so many stories, and I've seen it myself, where people get hit on the side of the expressway, and it doesn't matter if your ass isn't poked out in the road changing the tire. You can be on the other side of the curb side, and some idiot runs into your car and knocks you down. So be safe, get you some road cones, some road flares, whatever you can. Or if you have AAA and you have the patience, just wait for AAA to show up because they have all that stuff with them. I've had a flat tire on the expressway where I've pulled over, called AAA, and then ran up the embankment and sat there and read a book until they showed up because I wasn't sticking my butt out in the road, risking my life just to change a stupid tire.
Right, and not just AAA, but a lot of, insurance companies offer roadside assistance and roadside service, through your insurance, so just double check that. Make sure you have that 800 number handy for whatever service you use because it definitely comes in handy, but also the handy hockey parent. You carry jumper cables. I think I have jumper cables in my car. Check in with somebody if you're in the rink parking lot, change that tire, jump your car, whatever you need to do. All of those car kind of things happen. And yeah, it sucks, but you got to kind of expect it and deal with it when it pops up.
And then along with those road trips, you get the inevitable. Waze is taking down the road. Now the road is closed. Oh man, somebody just drove into the wall. Now you got to crash. The road shut down, and you have construction. We're facing this here pretty soon. So forewarning, if you're coming to Cincinnati in the next, I don't know, now and 8 years, we're building a new,
Decade.
and that bridge is going to take up a lot of road, a lot of traffic, a lot of construction. So be aware of that. Waze doesn't lie for the most part. Most of these maps don't lie, but stuff happens suddenly and you're hosed.
Right, and that's where you end up in a situation where you have a wreck that happens right in front of you and they close down the road and you're just stuck. That's gonna happen. There was a time we were driving to, I believe it was Cleveland, and there was an active shooter on the freeway in Columbus, and they shut a portion of the road down so that no one would go through that area, and families got stuck in this section of the freeway and couldn't go anywhere for hours on end. And you start seeing those apps. I know you hate the team app, but you start seeing those messages. Hey, we're locked down. We can't go anywhere. We're stuck. There's an accident here. The road shut down. Try if you're behind us, go another way. Mm, Those apps, as much as you don't like them, come in handy with that kind of stuff because you can at least let other players on the team know what's going on and hopefully get some people out of that situation that haven't quite run into that road closure yet.
Be a lot cooler instead of the apps if we handed out like CB radios to all the team
Oh,
before.
yeah.
Like, hey, breaker, breaker, you got a smoky at mile marker 130. Be aware. Got your ears on.
Okay, let me remind you,
Reference.
it is 2026, not 1976.
Smokey and the Bandit reference. Dukes of Hazzard.
Yes. Yes. No, we're not doing CB radios.
I got
But, you know,
here was something that you hit. So we had a tournament in Chicago. I think both kids played in Chicago. I took one kid, Angela, the other. Parking lot style traffic. Why, Angela? Who was in town in Chicago
oh,
this weekend?
Taylor Swift concert, same weekend as a tournament in Chicago. Shit show everywhere.
Oh, oh,
All
the
freeways,
Taylor
the
Swift.
hotel was insane. Yeah, we're going to check into the hotel. I'm like, why do these girls all have like diamonds on their face, like diamond stickers, sparkles on their face and stuff? And then somebody goes, oh, that Taylor Swift's in town this weekend. Okay, great. Yeah, even taking back roads in that situation, it took us a ridiculous amount of time to go a very short distance.
Well, and so the Taylor Swift concert, something like that, or even like playoff games for major sports, that's going to eat into hotel availability, restaurants being packed, traffic, of course, and other events that you may want to go to also being sold out. Like if you just want to go see a minor league hockey game and it's next door to the Taylor Swift concert, you're not going to be able to park there. So be aware, check out the city you are going to, go online, see what events are occurring that weekend. So you can either A, go to the event because you think it's something cool you'd enjoy, or B, avoid it like the plague. We're not against Taylor Swift. She has some okay songs that I don't really listen to.
Don't dismiss all
But
the Swifties.
yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just saying you could avoid the traffic associated with the talent of Taylor Swift. How about that?
Yes, and her show at Soldier Field or whatever it's called these days, where, it seats like
An
80,000 people or something.
I don't know if anybody from Chicago is listening, but Angela might have struck a nerve with them too because
Oh, did I? Oh, shit.
Are
See,
moving they're moving to Indiana. The Indiana
oh,
the Chicago suburbs that are spill over into Indiana, they're building the stadium a new stadium there. So the Bears
oh
are
man. Sorry about that. I was unaware. I don't keep up with the NFL too much.
just email Angela at puckedupparents@gmail.com for your let's
Yeah,
talk
for
about
all
the other mode of transportation that we usually take. We don't take trains, we take airlines.
we airlines. Yeah, very rare, but at least rare for us. But I think it's more common for depending on your geographical location. It can be more common for you. Obviously, I think we mentioned this back when we went to nationals a couple of months ago. We had all sorts of flight issues with our team delayed flights, rescheduled flights, canceled flights. I missed a flight. I think we were lucky this time with no lost luggage. But again, that's something that's going to happen.
I'm sorry, are you saying the airline industry is unreliable and they have delays and shit happens? Are you kidding me? What are you gonna
Well,
tell me next?
it's not just the airline industry, it's that old Mother Nature weather thing, too.
Now that's true. That is absolutely true. And this is where the other parent comes in handy. And I've been on this end. I don't know if anybody remembers the old show 24, and you had Jack Bauer, who was the investigator, and he was out, or the detective or the cop running around, and he'd call back to the home office, and Chloe would be on her computer figuring stuff out. This is what the other parent does if the other parent stays behind or has a local game. Angela's calling me on the phone. Listen, I missed my flight. See what you got. Yes, she could absolutely jump on her phone and do all this, but me behind a laptop is faster while we tag team at working together. Same thing for traffic. You're trying to drive, it's slow traffic, you're getting through. You're wanting to know what's going on up there. And there's been times where Angela's called me or I've called her to say, hey, listen, I'm about 30 minutes south of Columbus. I'm at a dead stop. Can you look and see what's going on for me?" And that's where, you whip out the laptop and walk them through it quickly.
Yeah, you can check the news sites and see if there's something major going on. Like I mentioned, we got in a situation where there was an active shooter situation on the freeway. You can kind of have somebody else look at what's going on, whether it's that or a bad crash or something. Speaking of crashes, one other thing that I want to mention is we've actually had a few parents get into crashes on the way to or from a game. In fact, that happened when we were at Nationals. And unfortunately, one of the families was rear ended and they were in a rental car. And lucky for them, they were in a rental car and they just kind of traded in and got a new rental car. But that kind of stuff can happen too. And that's one of those things that you're going to have to deal with your insurance, if it's your personal car, with the rental company, if it's a rental car, that can be a real nightmare as well. Again, that was one of those situations. Hey, who can come grab the player and the equipment and I'll deal with this. And one of the other families take the player.
We talked about Mother Nature, and I dealt with this a few years ago, snowstorms. Driving up in a
Yeah.
snowstorm, I almost turned around. We got rerouted off an expressway. There was 0 visibility. I'm in a Nissan Maxima, and I'm on a side road. I can't see where the road ends and somebody's yard started. I mean, I was seriously panicking, and I also had Angela on the line saying, "Hey, listen, I'm here. I may have you find me a hotel to stay the night close by to go ahead and book that for me." But luckily I made it through, but the weather, watching the weather and being concerned about road conditions, getting there maybe a day early before the snowstorm comes in.
Right, we've done that before, checking the weather and seeing, "Hey, it's gonna start snowing around 7 AM. We've gotta be at the rink 4 hours away at whatever time." Really doing some really odd hockey math when it comes to weather forecast and driving conditions and location of your game. We've had that situation where some families decide to leave early to try to beat the storm and others that try to hang back and try to make it through. Because guess what? They may close roads, they may close banks and schools and all kinds of other stuff, but guess what never closes? The rink never closes.
And this is
Very rarely.
and this is even like flash floods. I found myself pulled over under an underpass just waiting for it to go through. And again, that's where I call Angela. "Hey, check the radar. How quick is this thing moving out?" And what's funny about that is you look over your kid, they just don't care. They're on their
They have no idea
phone.
what's going on.
They're playing a game, they're listening to music. Meanwhile, you're gripping the wheel with white knuckles and your butt is clenched. You couldn't get you stick a piece of coal there, it's gonna make a piece of diamond because you're so nervous about it all.
The kids are completely clueless as to what's going on.
You know what helps me when I drive in bad weather and traffic or everything or trying to figure out where I'm going? Do this.
Calling me to find out where the
No, no,
traffic's gonna end or where the weather's gonna end.
for some reason, turning down the radio is gonna help me drive. I don't know why, but subconsciously, if I'm lost, turn on the radio. I don't need to hear Green Day right now. I'm trying to figure out where Main Street is.
That's classic. That's also when you, like, back into a parking spot, you gotta turn the radio down, or when you parallel park, you turn the radio down.
Yeah, I can't park with all that noise. I use Waze, I know you use something else, sometimes it's wrong, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
point again, I pointed to this before in our, rink episode, Columbus Fairgrounds. They had directions, took me to the wrong gate, it was multiple gates, and then when you got to the gate that I was supposed to go to, it was still a mess, and what did I have to use? A YouTube video filmed by the coach of the opposing team on how to get into the parking lot. So that's how complicated it got.
That's a rare one, but there are other issues with how the address is entered into whatever GPS, app you're using. We've had issues where you end up in a parking lot on the wrong side of the rink or on the next road over. We've had that a few times, but I would say Columbus Fairgrounds is probably the worst because it's a tiny little dot in a gigantic facility.
This is again where your other parent resources come through. You're like, "Hey, listen, I'm standing outside a gas station next to a Waffle House. I don't know where this rink is at," and somebody will inevitably walk you through how to get there. Now let's get back to the hotel. I'm a 4 to 5 star hotel type guy. I'm pretty spoiled. I mentioned that I don't camp out. I got to have a nice place, and unfortunately, a lot of these hotels are not good, semi good. You think you're getting a two queen bedroom, and you end up with a one king size.
I mean, it runs the gamut. We've talked about this in the past. A lot of times the hotels are not necessarily near the rink, but sometimes they are, but they're almost always in some suburban area right off the highway, and it's one of those kind of mid-tier hotels. Sometimes they're nicer, sometimes you'd give it 0 stars if you were gonna review it. That's a reference to one of my other favorite podcasts, which is Your Stupid Opinions, which is just guys reading dumb opinions off the internet, which is something you would probably enjoy or at least listen to here and there. But yeah, we've had the situation where maybe they don't even have your room. They don't have your reservation and you've got to deal with that. I've seen that happen a couple of times.
Didn't you guys have, like, an old man walk in your room, or you walked in somebody else's room because, they gave you the key to somebody else's room?
Yeah, we had that happen. So we went to check into the hotel. I'm schlepping all the bags in the cooler and all the things. Henry was pretty little at that age, so he couldn't really help me. We check in, they give us a room number, give us the key. We walk up to the room. I'm scanning the card. The card's not working. I'm irritated because I'm going to have to go back to the front desk. And next thing I know, the door opens and it's an older gentleman who's like, "Can I help you?"
Did
And
you
I was
say,
like, "Well, this is my room."
"I ordered a blonde from the escort service, you're brunette."
Yeah, no, because he saw me in my already irritated state with my then probably 8-year-old. But yeah, the hotel screwed up and just gave us the wrong room, and I almost walked in on an older gentleman in the hotel room.
This is unexpected, but I guess now for us it's expected. I share a name with a now deceased uncle who was handicapped. And Hilton, the fine people at Hilton have our accounts crossed somehow. So every time Angela and I get a Hilton room, and we did it last weekend for this orientation, we get the handicap accessible room. So it's me walking in a room with a parent checking into their room, and I'm explaining why I have a handicap accessible room. So we have the bars and the next to the toilet and the shower, the peephole that's waist high, the expanded floor. I always feel like guilt. I feel like I'm the guy who's at Home Depot parking in the, handicap parking spot. I feel
I
awful.
know. And as many times as we've tried to disconnect those accounts, it just, for whatever reason, that is stuck on our Hilton account because every time. So yeah, that's absolutely crazy. But we've also had some hotels that have been not so great. And they tend to be in the last minute range. There was one we went to, it was kind of right after COVID. We were last minute scheduled into this tournament because somebody else backed out. And I believe it was a Best Western, and we decided that there was nothing best about it, that it was mediocre at best. And it was not a pleasant experience. Not exactly what I would have booked for any sort of hotel or getaway. It had water, leaky water, the sink dripped, the toilet was running, all kinds of weird stuff going on at that hotel that was pretty miserable. In fact, some families checked out and went to try to find another hotel in the area, but it was a really large tournament in a smaller town, and that was tough to do.
I'm a college graduate. I work for a Fortune 500 insurance company. I'm also a firefighter. You put me in a hotel room to work a shower to get the hot water to work, I'm dialing that thing like I'm cracking a safe. I can never get the damn thing to work. I end up scalding myself or getting there with freezing cold water. Every one of them are different. I don't know why hotels just don't have simple hot, cold options. It's always gotta be turn it 30 degrees to the left, a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left, jiggle a little bit, and you get your hot water. Do you ever find
It's like
yourself doing that, or am I alone there?
I think you're alone because you're not patient enough to wait for the hot water to start to figure out where the hot is versus the cold. But sometimes it is like trying to open a master lock where you have to turn it right 3 times, turn it left past the number and then hit the number and that whole thing.
Hey, did that Best Western, do they have good hot water? Because if you don't have good hot water in a hotel, may I suggest using the Keurig machine?
Ew, that's disgusting. I don't even know that there was a Keurig machine in this place. It was not good. There was a garbage can in the middle of the hallway on the first floor collecting water dripping from where, I don't know, because there were multiple floors.
Hey, let's talk about the, breakfast. Now the breakfast, that's you're getting breakfast roulette. Either it's gonna be a pretty damn decent breakfast, or, man, it's just sustenance and you're eating it to get by. Runny eggs, sausage that squirts when you poke in
Ugh, gross.
bacon that's thinly sliced. We talked to Shauna, the Shauna on the couple of episodes ago was talking about she brings her own bacon.
Yeah. So you
Breakfast.
asked earlier about food poisoning, and I just remembered there was a time when a handful of people got food poisoning from the breakfast. So it was undercooked bacon. The
Ugh,
bacon was kind of like grayish and it was didn't really look right. And yes, there were a handful of people who got sick from bad hotel bacon.
there's that Saturday Night Live bit where they do this hotel. and they cover all this. They talk about the breakfast, and one of the things that I was like, "Hell yeah." Breakfast ends at 10 o'clock, right? Let's say breakfast ends at 10 at the hotel. At 10:01, they're slapping that padlock on the old refrigerator that has the yogurt in it. So, it's like they have this huge padlock because I guess people were swiping too much of the yogurt, and that's you're always go good with the fruits, like the bananas, the stuff that's pre-wrapped, the cereal that's boxed, the frozen not the frozen yogurt, just regular yogurt, that's never miss, and that's good sustenance. It's the stuff that's cooked that you're it's a crapshoot.
Powdered eggs.
I called it a crapshoot, which is probably what happens to ours at
Right.
a hotel room breakfast.
Yeah, you never know what you're gonna get. Although sometimes we get the, like, buffet breakfast that if you're a regular hotel guest, you have to pay, like,
Yeah,
$14.95
good.
for. Those tend to be a little better, and sometimes that comes with the tournament fee, and sometimes they want you to pay the $14.95 or whatever it is. I'll never pay that. I'll just go get a breakfast sandwich somewhere and call it a day.
And then you know me, I'm all about the waffle in the cup.
Oh, yeah, squeeze the waffle batter out.
And of course, we talked about this in the past, bar or no bar, and the hotel bars, the beer is it's so expensive, so god awful expensive, and this is where you try to just sneak your own alcohol. And again, it goes back to our hangover conversation. If you are paying for alcohol at a hotel room bar and you have a hangover the next morning, you may wanna go ahead and check that credit card statement because you probably just spent a ton of money.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. But yeah, there are ways around that, just hang out in the room, stay away from the hotel lobby and the bar, bring your own cup, those kinds of things. But that's just one of those could be a perk or it could be a downer, depending on the hotel.
And this is the unexpected, and this pisses me off to the nth degree. You're in, I don't know, let's say Detroit. You're 10 minutes outside of downtown Detroit, maybe 15, 20 minutes outside of
Near the airport.
the airport. There's a field that yeah, that's $20 for parking at our hotel. Are you serious? Really? You're gonna make me pay to park at this hotel? There's a Sam's Club next door that I'll just go park at for the night. I hate paying for parking.
Yeah. Yeah, paying for hotel parking is never fun. Thankfully, it doesn't come up all that often,
Right, it doesn't.
but it does come up. But so again, read the fine print when you're booking the hotel. Double check to see if you're having to pay for parking because guess what? It's not just $20 to park, it's $20 a night to park or $30 a night or whatever it might be. It's per night, not just, hey, here's $20 to park.
All right, I've got your notes here, and you mentioned this about hotels. Weird smells. Give me your weird smells. Your top weird smells in a hotel room. And I've got a good example of one that I'll remember. But go ahead.
Okay, aside from the hockey players and the hockey gear, I think there's just sometimes I don't even know how to describe it, but weird smells. Sometimes it's, somebody used too much cologne or perfume, or sometimes it's BO,
Perfumed up because there's a Taylor Swift concert going on.
yeah, exactly. Or maybe it smells like bleach because they just clean.
Can't remember where this was, when this was, but it was like one of those conference center type hotel rooms, and there was a dog show the same weekend.
Oh, gross.
You had the dog smell, of course, people washing their dogs, so it smelled like the wet dog smell. It was miserable. Not necessarily a smell, but Shauna mentioned it. I think you again, we talked about Taylor Swift, the dog show, conventions that go on. I think she said there was like a unicorn convention or something at one of the hotels they were staying at or something like that. So you're kinda left to the devices of these conference centers as to what type of weird conference is going on.
Yeah, we've seen several weird conferences. The unicorn thing, there was a Comic-Con thing at one of the hotels that we stayed at, so everybody was dressed up in their outfits or whatever, which are fabulous, but wow, that was a lot. We've seen, like, crafting conventions. I've seen, like, quilting conventions and stuff at these random hotels. It's pretty wild, to see all of that, and then you also get the hotel where not only is there a hockey team or 2 there, maybe there's also a baseball team and a basketball team, so there's multiple sports teams in one hotel. That can get crazy too.
I got my mom a hotel room near us. She likes to stay at a hotel. We don't really have much room, guest bedroom wise, at our house. And I booked her a nice Marriott. And I was helping her get into the Marriott. And we got to the lobby, and there were 300 bikers. Like they had the leather vest on with like hells. Hell's
with
Bra
their club patches on.
patches. I was like, "No." And she was a little concerned. I go, "Honestly, mom, this is probably the safest place in the city right now. These guys look like they're not gonna take crap from anybody." And luckily, she said it was no problem. Everybody was quiet. She slept well, but I was mortified. Again, this goes back. I didn't do my research to make sure that there was a conference going on or a Harley meetup. Now, let's talk about the games themselves. Every once in a while, you get the unexpected. You just drove 3 hours. The compressor broke in the rink. There's no game. You just wasted a 3-hour trip. We've done that before, right?
Well, this one was the one that I'm thinking of was not a broken compressor. It was the other team that we were going to play against didn't schedule ice time. So, yeah,
That
whoopsies.
goes back to a team manager episode that we need to have. That's a team manager's fault
Yes.
or the coach's fault.
So, we drove about 3 hours to get to the game. We were supposed to play 2 games that day. The first game was not on the rink schedule. This particular rink had 2 sheets of ice. We were not on that schedule. So the team managers scurried around and found us ice time at an outdoor rink, which was cool, except the fact that it was like February in Toledo. So it was really, really, really cold. And none of us were prepared for an outdoor game because obviously it's a bit colder outside than it is in a typical rink. So we made that work. It sucked, but at the end of the day, the kids really enjoyed playing at the outdoor rink. I froze my ass off, but it's fine. But yeah, things happen. Sometimes they get canceled at the last minute. You'll get the phone call, "Hey, the compressor went out last night. We can't play today." A lot of times you get that message ahead of time, which is good, and you don't make the drive. But the one time that I'm thinking of, we made the drive, and they were like, "Oopsies, we didn't put you on the schedule."
And then the final, you're 3 games into a 4-game guaranteed tournament. Your kid gets thrown out of the game, suspended the next game. You packing up and leaving? I am.
Well, I think there's a couple of ways to look at that. You're looking at it from the I'm leaving perspective, but there's also the looking at it from you're a member of this team and you need to stay and watch your team play perspective. So I think that's a personal individual call. It happens. I think respectfully, I don't think I'd leave. I'd make my kids sit and watch. That's part of the punishment. You got to sit on the sidelines.
All right, that's our quick, unexpected expectations expected episode. Let's get to life moves pretty fast. Your reflections, and I've got a segment here I'm going to add within this. So, Angela, go ahead and get your reflections.
Well, we talked about in the past, we play our little game we call Where Were We When. So all of these situations, they suck at the time. You're frustrated, you're irritated, you're mad, you're having to deal with stuff off the cuff. But at the end of the day, years down the line, those are the stories that you're going to look back at and laugh at years later. And they're going to become the where were we when the game didn't get scheduled? Where were we when my car broke down? Where were we when I had to get a new battery?
So, I reached out on social media. Hey, give us your best unexpected events. So, do you mind if I run through these and get your quick opinions on them? All right.
Yeah, go and as we're doing this, I'm thinking of a couple of more. So go. Let's see what you got.
All right, Marissa, she says her husband, they went to St. Charles, Missouri, not local to them. They had to travel very far. The husband forgot suitcase, everything, all his clothes. So they had to make the old trip to Walmart to buy a brand new cheap wardrobe.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this before. There were a couple of tournaments where I've forgotten socks or underwear. Not the entire suitcase, but definitely socks or underwear. And along those lines, there was one time my mom was going with us on a trip. I drove about 2 hours, stopped to get gas, realized I didn't have my wallet. Thankfully, my mom was with me and I had a form of payment for said gas. And I quickly set up Apple Pay to make sure that I would be safe if I did that again.
So this one's good. We didn't cover this type of scenario. I don't think we've ever had this. The rink rat gets lost.
No.
Martha wrote us and said a 4-year-old kid on their team, not necessarily Martha's kid, took off. They lost the kid. And next door was a one of those snow tubing places, like a ski resort snow tubing place.
Oh my gosh.
Kid went over there. A random mom kind of took the kid in with her kid. And by the time the family found the kid, he had already gone down the slopes 3 or 4 times on the inner tubes with the other.
Holy cow, that's insane. That's insane on so many different levels.
Another parent, I don't have the name written here. The kid wandered off, wandered into the opposing team's locker room as the coach was giving the speech at the end of the game.
Wow.
By default, his dad. Amanda writes us 10-year-old went to the museum with another family, and, on the stair rails, as you go up the stairs, got his
Yeah.
head stuck in between the rails,
Oh,
and the kid Amanda said the kid was a goalie, so it was okay because goalies are weird.
well, I mean, she's not wrong there, but wow, that's crazy.
Matthew story, a power failure at the rink, so everything went out.
Oh, okay.
So it was pitch dark for quite a few seconds. He also mentions that, I don't know if you've had this. You're in the bed at the hotel room, snugly asleep, and the fire alarm goes off.
Yes, we have had that at
He had
least
one.
twice. Yeah.
This was during a blizzard.
Oh, no, no, no. Oh, that's terrible.
We've also had this, a SWAT team dropping in to visit the hotel because unruly hotel guests, not
Yeah, we've had that. I do remember one. There was a hotel bar in the first floor of the hotel where there was a bar fight and the cops showed up.
All right, this comes from Holly. Angela, what's unique about our son Sam and maybe even Henry? They can sleep through anything, right?
Yeah, they can sleep through the dead. Yeah.
Right, so the parents went down, had a little boozing down in the hotel lobby. The kids were up in the room. 2 11-year-old girls fell asleep, sound asleep. They put the little chain on the door, so mom came up to go
Oh
pull it.
shit! I couldn't get in.
Kids weren't waking up, and they had to get, hotel staff to intervene with that one.
Man, that's rough.
This is from Eric. Hotel was angry about the team being in a pool at 3 o'clock PM. Don't know why. Of course, kids
Oh,
anxious.
yeah.
So they locked all the doors. The parents couldn't get
Oh,
out. Hotel wouldn't open it, and the parents called the fire marshal.
wow, that's a petty hotel.
This is good. This goes to your airport story. You know those mini sticks that everybody's collecting?
Yeah,
Super expensive. You get the rare ones. They were all the rage there a few months ago, the mini sticks. So the TSA stopped. The parents
can't
went
carry them on.
and carry them on. Mom says, "Hey, a kid that's on an 8U team, we can't take this through. It's got to be pitched in the garbage." Kid had a full meltdown. Like
Yeah,
20 minutes. So mom had to double back to the old check-in counter and pay $75 to check a
to
mini
check a mini stick.
$35 mini.
Oh, man.
And finally, Josh gave us a story of a forfeit, a 14U game. A opposing team kid went Superman style to try to tackle another player.
Yeah,
They hit her in the wall, knocked himself out. Ambulance was called, and the coach of the team that this kid that was knocked out was on got angry because he said it was malicious. Meanwhile, it was his kid that was diving, doing the diving, and
yeah.
came off the ice, forfeited the game. They pulled the video and were like, "Yeah, your kid started all this." The kid ended up being fine. The ambulance was called, but apparently the kid was an embellisher. Took it to the point where they forfeited the game because they thought the kid was injured badly.
Oh my gosh, wow.
So those
That's wild.
those are some unexpected from you, the listeners, and we really appreciate it because those are some good. I didn't think about the rink rats being lost, but I can see where it happens.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like they kinda disappear for a while, but I don't think we've ever had any, like, lost.
It's like a dog
And
in the yard with
and
those electronic fences. You just assume they're gonna stay on the property, but next thing you know, they're sitting at the Waffle House counter next door eating scattered, smothered, covered, or to her point, cooping with some random family, which is
family, oh my gosh. That's like, there's so many things about that. Yeah, so maybe, the lesson there is stick an air tag in your rink rat's shoe or something.
I've got one more. A man in a bathrobe was chasing kids up and down the hallway at the hotel room because he was upset at 'em. A hockey mom got upset with that and pulled a knife on him.
Holy cow.
So
Wow.
of course, we'll recap this episode next week and keep bringing the stories because these are really good.
Yeah.
So
They're
those are the reflections of the experiences. Of course, some experiences match with what we had, but
yeah.
a lot of stuff that I've not experienced, but absolutely makes sense. So, Angela, tip of the week.
I think we say this all the time. We've talked about it a lot through this episode. Rely on your hockey family. They're there to help. When these situations come up, try not to freak out. Don't pull a knife. Don't freak out. Don't pull a knife. Be patient and we'll get through it.
Put that mini stick down your pants before you go through TA.
Yeah. Yeah, be patient, don't freak out. Reach out to your hockey family. Read ahead if you're flying. Definitely read those TSA regulations. We've talked about that before. You can carry a hockey skate on, but you can't carry a mini stick. I think I can do a whole lot more damage with a hockey skate than I can a mini stick.
And research. I hate do your research. Do your research.
Yeah.
Check
Yeah.
if I'm driving from Cincinnati to Pittsburgh, I'm checking the conditions of the expressway. If I know I'm leaving Friday, I'm checking the weather, not just for Cincinnati. I'm checking
Right.
Pennsylvania area. That's a big thing. You check the weather, like it's going to be 50 degrees in Cincinnati. Well, meanwhile, Pittsburgh has a blizzard on their way in. just check stuff out, know where you're going, even like to the point of Google Earthing and seeing what the rink looks like to know when you get there that you're pulling up the right area. Otherwise, you're like me pulling up to a random gate at a fairground.
Right, exactly. Yeah, definitely do your research. I think that's a fantastic tip is to, check out Google Earth, see what's around it. Know that there's a gas station across the street and a railroad track running alongside of it. Whatever the situation may be aware of your surroundings kind of thing will make these trips and this travel a little bit less chaotic, maybe.
Let's get to our outro. And this is kind of our small business, but we're actually promoting an expo. This is the an expo that Angela and I are happy to help sponsor. It's the Queen City Expo in Buffalo, New York. Be located at the Buffalo Riverworks. It's August 9th. We'll promote them probably in the episodes upcoming. And I think we're actually going to sit down with the organizer of it, who is also a hockey parent, former college player. Him and I have corresponded, but Pucked Up Parents, we're going to make a little presence there at the Queen City Expo, even though we can't be there in person because we're in Kentucky, and even some of the our small businesses. I know Willie Wax, who have sent us free waxes, who have been our small business shout. They're going to be there as well. So August 9th, Buffalo, New York, at the Buffalo Riverworks is the Queen City Expo. It's a youth hockey equipment swap. Vendors buy, sell, and trade. It's also sponsored by like Howie's Hockey, so it's free admission. I recommend you go. Look for an upcoming episode. We'll talk about the Queen City Hockey Expo. Angela, get us to our outro.
We appreciate everyone listening. Please follow, subscribe, and share. Leave us a comment or question on whatever platform you're listening on. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram. We love to hear from you. Love to hear some more stories, travel nightmare stories, or maybe a travel fun story.
Yeah, the travel fun story. What, we won the lottery, a scratch off on the way there or something? Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Unexpected.
as opposed to losing a ton of money. Like,
Right.
listen, follow, and share. We have merchandise tagged at the top of our Facebook page. We love comments. We love feedback. We love your whatever you want to say. If you think we suck, let us have it. Our kids think we suck, so join in. Follow, share, listen, and as we say every week, keep your stick on the ice. We're all in this together. Goodbye.
Up before dawn, can't feel my face. Coffee spilling all over the place. Forgot the sticks, we're turning around. Another weekend and some hockey.